Hi, I'm Alastair from the Drinking Man's Guide to Scotland, and today I am in Glasgow in Munro's, and I'm meeting the brewer from Scottish Borders Brewery. Pleased to meet you, John.
Very nice to meet you too, Alastair. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad. I am just tasting a pint of your lovely dark horse.
Is it alright? Do you like it?
Well, just give me a second and I'll have a look. Yeah.
It's absolutely pish, isn't it?
Not how I would describe it, John. I would actually describe it as very light. It's not a porter, it's a stout, rather, to me.
Well, it's actually a classic Scottish dark ale.
It's a Scottish dark ale.
Everyone forgets that sort of genre exists.
Yeah.
And they all go, it's not a porter, it's not quite a stout. It is actually a Scottish dark ale.
Oh, alright. Very nice, very smooth. What's the percentage on this one?
4.5.
4.5. So almost a session ale, maybe not too much.
Almost, but you just got to be a wee bit careful.
Okay.
Especially if you live in a rural location.
Because there's not much transport home.
There's none where we live.
There's none where you live. And down in the borders beside the brewery.
Exactly.
John, why did you decide to start brewing beer? What's your reason?
It was mostly because I came from a farming family and farming was crap. I didn't want to do it, and there was no money in it, and so it was about finding something to do that was there and kind of looked after the farm but didn't involve farming.
Right.
And we went through all sorts of harebrained schemes, like mini golf courses, you name it, we sort of thought of it. But at the end of the day, it was actually a marketing decision, which was sort of my background. I spent 10 years working in London in advertising.
Right, so you started off farming, you went to London, you did advertising.
No, started off as a farmer's child.
As a farmer's child, sorry. Right,
I
okay.
wanted nothing to do with it at all. Buggered off to London, went and worked in advertising, being a big ponce. Came back, didn't want to stick my hand up cows' asses, so I needed to find something kind of complementary. And at the end of the day, it was a marketing decision. It was like, well, what do we actually grow? Barley. What does barley make? Beer or whiskey? Yeah. It's not going to be whiskey because that's 25 years, so beer's 10 days. I think I'll go for that one.
Yeah. So that was the decision. You started, you came back, you wanted to live back in the area again, I take it.
Yeah.
And you thought beer.
And I knew nothing about it. I was a confirmed Stella drinker for 50 years.
A lager drinker. You're a confirmed lager drinker. That's shocking.
A few courses down in Sunderland, and I had a sort of Damascene conversion, and that was it.
All right, excellent. Well, I'm telling you, the beer you're producing now is very, very good. I must say, I love your advertising slogan as well, from plough to pint.
Yeah.
So I take it then a lot of the ingredients in your beers are farmed on your farm.
Well, all the barley is, the water comes from our own artesian borehole. Hops, obviously, a bit of a tricky issue, and the yeast naturally becomes your own.
Right.
But in terms of the sort of hop side of things, we do want to try and square the circle, so we are exploring other things, other ingredients that are purely Scottish. So we've got a project called Wild Harvest that uses anything from elderflower to sea buckthorn as sort of, either bittering or.
I heard about the Wild Harvest thing. I was very interested in that. I think it was quite limited run beers because there's a limited run amount of ingredients.
What it is, what we slightly discovered was that foraging is called foraging for a reason. It's not called commercial agriculture.
Yeah.
So you can't just ring up and say, can I have a bunch of this?
Yeah.
So we had these grandiose plans about sort of trialing a couple of things, choosing which one was best, commercially brewing that one. What we realised is that you trial in the first year and then you can brew in the second year, but you can't just roll on as a sort of commercial.
It's not an ongoing project.
It's not. It is foraging, and it's got to be sustainable. And foragers are rightly quite sort of pedantic about sort of what you're ordering and what you're taking from the environment, because they don't want to strip it bare.
So it won't be there for next year.
So it won't be there for next year.
Could you tell us some of your more mainstream beers? I mean, I'm drinking the Dark Horse. Which one are you drinking just now?
Dark Horse is actually the strongest that we do. Most of our beers sit within a sort of 3.8 to 4.2 range. The reason being that we very much tell ourselves on a local story. We are surrounded by rural local pubs who like session ales. They don't want anything that's going to blow your head off. So the idea that we couldn't sell in our local pubs was a bit of an anathema. So we always wanted to do things within that range so that the whole local story would still stack up. We're not sort of someone who makes sort of 8% hot bombs. because they never sell to the people that surround us. So that's where the sort of the range found its feet. Really.
Right, okay. So the one you're drinking just now is the...
I'm drinking Foxy Blonde, which is probably our most popular. It's definitely the most sessionable. It's 3.8%. It's got a nice sort of summery sort of feel to it. Hopped with fairly standard hops, and then a bit of an outsider from New Zealand, Green Bullet, which isn't often used. Not many people are using it at the moment. They've moved on to some other New Zealand hops, but we actually think it works quite well with this and gives it a bit of a kick.
I noticed as well when I was looking up your site the other day, you've got the Scottish Borders, you've also got the English Borders Ale as well, is that correct?
Well, that was just a gag.
That was a gag?
It was a gag.
I picked it up wrongly.
It was a gag for the Six Nations, because we sell 50% of what we sell goes south of the border. And we were trying to come up with a Six Nations rugby beer. We had Flower of Scotland.
You got me with the gag then, you got me with it, because I saw it.
And it just didn't look very good doing something called English Rose Scottish Borders Brewery, so we changed the name.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to ask you, any plans for the future? How are you going to develop it? So, I mean, you've started the brewery now, you're doing very well with it, I'm enjoying the beer. What's in the future for you?
Well, I think what we have found interesting is where the ingredients come from, and we're actually sort of in the process of launching a new brewery visitor centre, but it's actually sort of bigger than that, to highlight and showcase the very best of Borders produce. So anything that is made or grown or born in the Borders will be highlighted by this project, Born in the Borders. And it's all about local sourcing, it's all about making in a local environment, and trying to sort of extend our Plough to Pint ethos to anything that you could eat or buy or wear or shop with.
So you're extending it from the beer to food to just basically local produce, well shown in its local area.
Yeah, and also just how it's made. Because I think how things get made is something that often gets forgotten. And we want to sort of not be preachy and educational, but just surprise people that, did you know George Clooney wears leather jackets made in Galashiels? No one does, but all his leather jackets come from Galashiels.
Dave does. The guy that's filming right now, Dave is going, I knew George. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
Oh, John, I'm going to say thank you for that, okay? I'm looking forward to some new beers coming out. I might actually make it down. You're doing another festival, another comedy festival?
We might well be this year.
Right. Well, I'll look out for that as well, but just now I think I'll say thank you for that.
Well, and I'll an absolute pleasure.
Cheers, John. Thank you. Thank you very much. Right. Cheers.